Carole King reports from the front lines of God's country.
In the United States, there are many who say that while we cry out for other countries to stop the destruction of the rainforest, we are destroying our own backyards. Beneath me are some of the most beautiful of Idaho's 9 million acres of wilderness, where life exists as it has for millions of years. The battle on the ground is whether to allow industrial use of its resources or keep it unchanged for future generations and for our planet's survival. In 1964, the Wilderness Act was signed, protecting areas that were just as nature had made them. 91 million acres have been protected, but now the question is, how much wilderness does a growing population need to balance the effects of progress? Trees are just one of the resources that wilderness areas protect, but the timber industry argues that there's enough wilderness and not enough trees for their uses. Meanwhile, 1/3 of the nation's timber harvest is being exported to Japan, a country flooded with American wood.
This, to me, is the great crime of the 20th century, that an allegedly enlightened society like ours is still dealing with its remaining wildlands with a frontier-type ethic.
Howie Wolk is one of the founders of Earth First, a nationwide collection of people that have resorted to monkey wrenching, breaking the law to try and prevent the Earth's destruction. Howie spent 6 months in jail for attempting to stop development in a wilderness area.
There's a lot of people out there right now who, in the last few years, have gone to jail trying to defend the last remnants of the American wilderness and the last old-growth forests.
All over northern Idaho, for as far as the eye can see, there are clear-cuts, patches of land that are completely logged and then set aflame. The timber industry plans to reforest these areas, and in the distant future will cut them down again. Timber can be harvested and replanted. That's a renewable resource. But a wilderness can't be replaced. Build one road, harvest one stand of trees, drill one oil well, and it's no longer wilderness. That's why some people feel that there's no more room for compromise and why the battle is so bitter.
We are destroying wilderness at a rate that is so rapid today that the top ecologists in the country are now saying that we're losing the opportunity for vertebrate animals to evolve, and that's a horrible commentary.
Only 4% of the country is protected wilderness. In Idaho, there are 9 million unprotected acres being battled over in the halls of Congress. Environmental groups want to save at least 4 million acres. One of Idaho's senators, who has received over $100,000 in campaign contributions from timber, oil, and mining companies, is trying to pass a bill to protect only 1.4 million acres.
Sawmills require logs to run, and if you don't have them available to you, you close the doors.
Joe Hinson of the Intermountain Forest Industry Association represents the loggers of Idaho and argues that they don't destroy forests, they manage and replant them.
To say that if you cut down trees, you're going to contribute to global warming, the only way you can say that is to believe that if you cut down the trees, they're going to disappear. Of course, if they did, that would be a problem. But they don't, by reforesting the area. Now, if you didn't do that, if you took this area, paved it over, then there would be some contribution to global warming. We don't.
To me, it's common sense. To me, it's basic survival. To me, it's learning to deal with our planet in a loving and caring way, rather than in a selfish, greedy, and exploitive way. It's also an approach that's necessary for the survival of life on Earth, and if that's radical, then so be it.
Good morning, 720 at KGRZ. It's going to be cloudy and cool through tomorrow in Grizz Country. Air quality is very poor, and the Stage 1 alert is in effect. So please don't burn unless you absolutely have to, and take the bus today. Rides are free when there's an alert call.
I'm standing in Missoula, Montana, where they turn trees into paper. Behind me, the cloud you see is the stone container paper mill at work. Missoula's in a valley, and on days like this when there's a lot of cloud cover, there are air pollution stage 1 alerts. When this happens, they tell the residents not to burn wood in their wood-burning stoves. Ironically, this happens most in the winter, in the cold Montana winter. But man doesn't just strip trees from mountainsides. Minerals are stripped as well. And the mining industry produces 800 million tons of hazardous waste yearly, more than all the factories across America combined. Because the mining industry is exempt from many environmental protection laws, basically they can dump their toxic waste almost anywhere they please. The minerals torn from the land are separated in smelters like this one in Kellogg, Idaho, now one of the largest Superfund cleanup sites. Before it was closed in 1982, it belched noxious fumes across the valley, showering 2,000 homes with toxic lead, arsenic, and mercury. Children tested for lead poisoning were found to have some of the highest levels ever measured in the country.
This is American National Forest! We yield no more! Earth first!
When it comes to the environment, no one really knows what the effects of our abuses will be. There is no laboratory to test this in. The Earth is our laboratory. And if the experiment fails, there'll be no second chance.